Ready.
So, are we live? Are we live? Yes, I think we are, Pixel, and that is a pleasure to have you here. And this time, let me start with the way I usually start. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you're based in the world. And this time we have a slightly different setup. Check out this new apartment I've got, and a very special guest, Pixel, all present here virtually. Nice to have you, Pixel.
Hey man, nice to be here.
Nice. And I mean, we are here now, and we wanted to take, since we always talk about building virtual worlds, we said, hey, why don't we organize one of these actually in a virtual world, in ShapesXR, and discuss about how to build these worlds. So we're gonna travel to worlds, we're gonna visit different places, we're gonna learn from the expertise from word builder and XR chef winner, Pixel Hustler here. And indeed, so and as usual, I always want to remind everybody that even though we are here surrounded in this incredible virtual world, you can always ask questions, and you will see me lifting my head, checking my monitor, and try to get your questions done. So, Pixel, it is really a pleasure to be here, and we stumble on each other during this XR Chef. But maybe why don't you start by telling us a little bit about you?
Yeah, so basically, I got started with this stuff when I was a young kid growing up in New York. I was inspired by graffiti, which led to illustration, airbrushing, traditional design, which eventually led to graphic design, animation. And at some point, I needed to do more with my creative. And I realized that I needed to program in order to maximize what I was doing creatively. So I learned programming. So I got a little bit of left and right brain. And at some point, when I branded as Pixel Hustler in 2005, I decided I'm going to stay on top of emerging tech and just try to kick butt with whatever comes out that seems viable for the future. And so here we are.
That's right. So then you, as if I understand correctly, you are not just a creative, but part of your career lies also in the technical side. Am I correct? Maybe can you tell us a little bit about your that kind of like skills and expertise that you have?
Yeah, so I mean, I do some programming, some 3D. I mean, I do a lot of programming, know several languages, and I also produce larger projects.
Okay. And maybe also to the people that are here joining today, I'm curious, what are your skill set? How are you guys? What's your interest in this world? Are you pure creative, 3D artist, programmer, a bit like Pixel? And maybe one curiosity actually, like how important is that coding while building worlds, right? So because a
Yeah.
lot of people that ends up with a, let's say maybe they sketch something, but then they always find it hard to start and get more into the nitty gritty. How needed
Yeah.
is it?
Well, you know, it's becoming increasingly less necessary because no code solutions are the hottest thing these days, right?
Right.
And in particular, I would say with the Mona platform, which I've been using, which I built these worlds for, they put very particular special care into instructing new users, people who don't even have any 3D experience. But oddly enough, there's a huge fascination and a desire from people who aren't even technically inclined to build virtual worlds and virtual environments. And Mona does a really good job of facilitating, giving them the information they need. And a lot of it, I mean, especially with ShapesXR being able to import into Unity, which I just tested recently with the latest version of Mona and ShapesXR, you can come in here and anybody can get creative, start building, and immediately import it into the Una starter package for Unity. And you can see yourself walking around with your avatar within minutes.
And this is the
So
beauty.
yeah,
This
and
is absolutely.
obviously, if you want to get really technical with it, you can learn programming and add bigger, bolder features. But Mona also supports visual scripting, which is a no-code sort of tool of
Mhm.
sorts. You know, it's not necessarily easy, but it's easier to get into than actual scripting. So yeah, plenty of opportunity for novices and professionals alike to build what they want.
Right. So I think this is a good hook, and I also would like to ask the people here that are listening, joining in. We are here with Pixel Hustler, talking about building virtual worlds, and indeed, some of this is certainly no code or low code, right? Maybe starting in tools like this, going into then other platform via Unity. But maybe a question to the people that are actually joining right now: how are you guys? And are you building virtual worlds? If so, what words and for what purpose? Because actually, sometimes people build, and the definition of words can be rather broad, right? I mean,
Yeah.
even like a location for maybe a VR training, or maybe for an educational experience, or maybe, I don't know, for an entertainment, or maybe a game. Those are all words.
Yeah.
And in your case, curious still to hear what you guys are building. I mean, I really want to know. But while I give you the time to answer, I want to ask, what about your word, Pixel?
Yeah, so I think we use worlds as a general term to embody virtual experiences in general, or virtual environments in general, I should say. But if I was to be specific, these worlds were specifically built for being event spaces. So it has a live streaming video capability using live peer on the Mona network, and you have actually dynamic images which are updatable on the back end. So someone can actually purchase this world, and they can change what the images are in the art gallery in the world. So yeah, it was very much designed with the idea that people will be renting these spaces or buying these spaces for their own virtual events.
Right, right. And I think virtual event, it is a big one, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it is indeed really a big one. And maybe out of curiosity, how were those words built in, let's say, what portion of the people that visit those words visit them actually from a web or from VR? How are those
Right.
capabilities? And maybe what are the different things that you take into account based on that?
I'm not sure if I understand the question, but so for example, with the Mona platform right now, they're focused on desktop. So a
Right.
VR version is coming in the future, but right now it's
Okay.
focused
So it's not
exclusively on
it.
desktop. But I will say that for me, I built these worlds with VR in mind. And it was very interesting. You'll see in the video that I'm walking through the world at scale to see what that looks like in VR. But then there's instances where I'm walking around using the teleport system, where I'm actually more testing what that experience is on desktop. So you'll notice also that it's not tethered. It's not a box of a space. It's not a building. It's floating in space. And although there's pathways, there's teleport systems for navigating the world, you can also just jump to where you want to go. And that was one thing that came up that was interesting just from a design standpoint, sort of a VR or a VR and desktop virtual world UI UX standpoint, where I created intentionally so that people can navigate the normal standard way. But for those who want to, there's no rules. You could just jump off of things and go to
Right,
the
and
next
that's the
floor.
whole fun. That's the
Yeah.
whole fun
So
of being in a virtual world as well, right?
yeah, we don't have to recreate reality. We can just completely be untethered by it. But it brings up a lot of interesting UI, UX things, because there are different experiences. And for now, there's a big audience that's still on desktop. And, so yeah, it's different experiences, but it's interesting to design with both those things in mind. And ShapesXR makes it really easy to do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And meanwhile, there is a memory saying that now you are not seeing these guys, but we have like a master cinematographer here that is actually shooting all this and taking this, and actually memory is saying, love this videography. So Jeremy, well
Yeah,
done.
kudos to Jeremy.
We have here, so it's a great comment from everybody here. And indeed, and if you like these formats, let us know. Maybe we can arrange others in this one. And by the way, we still have words to visit, so there is still like other things that we are gonna do today while we are here with Pixel. So thanks, memory, for the nice words. So we were discussing about these virtual worlds and also the purpose. So for events, maybe a question here. So you mentioned that these actually words that you started building in ShapesXR, and then you exported or maybe let's do this. What was your workflow? How did you build these words? How did you created them and maybe sold them?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically first just starting off with playing around with ShapesXR, seeing what was possible and whether or not it was viable for creating the virtual worlds that I create. But also I do some VR development. So obviously ShapesXR has the interactivity component, and it's the best tool for prototyping VR XR experiences. For some reason, for whatever reason, I decided to revolve the design around radiuses, around circles for that first event, or for that first space, I should say. And that led to the next project. Trying to keep in line with it, I decided to go with sort of squarish shapes. There was no real rhyme or reason. It was literally like, often a lot of these projects start off with just, I want to play with this tool, let me see what it can do. So it was never intended to actually ultimately be a world, but as I started playing with it, I was like, this could be something. And so it naturally was just born out of that. But the intention of building events was just to specifically portray, especially on the Mona platform, to show people what's possible, what these spaces can be, in sort of, for corporate environments or events and things like that. But at the same time, I have other projects that I'm working on. We actually have them in ShapesXR as well. But, it's so open-ended. I don't know if this answers your questions, but I want to say that it's so open-ended and it has not been defined yet, right? So one of the things that I'm working on with on the Mona platform is creating VR art pieces that then can be visited and experienced in a virtual environment. So not necessarily an event, but more of a virtual a VR NFT that can be experienced in a virtual environment. And I think that's one important thing to point out with Mona, and why I'm particularly fond of Mona, is because at the end of it, you can actually mint these worlds on the blockchain and they go for sale. So, and again, like I mentioned, so someone can purchase it to create their own events, or we actually have somebody who purchases spaces and then rents them out for other people to participate in.
Right. So you can also rent a world?
Yeah, it's pretty open-ended. I mean, there's no real limitations on how people can creatively use their space. So, there's a lot of interoperability, or people are attempting to do that in this space. And it's completely open-ended. So you can kind of almost build a business revolving around these other platforms.
Right. And maybe just curious, the minting process, what kind of blockchain does Mona, is that Mona dependent, or is that something that you also have a choice on?
I don't remember. I think there's memory could actually chime in, but I know that Ethereum is the main one that they started off with. I believe there might be another chain available at the moment, but since you're minting to the blockchain, it actually lives in your wallet. So if you go to OpenSea, Rarible, or any one of these other NFT marketplaces, you will see your Mona world in those spaces, and you can make them available for sale in any other NFT marketplace.
Right. Nice. And by the way, we have also say hi, Robin from XR. Nice to see you here. People are saying hi. So we got a bunch of people also. Hi. So. Okay, so that is also that is, and with regards to Weird, then I think now I'm kind of like really looking forward to enter the model that you use. So looking forward to it. One question was also maybe how was the workflow, like the production workflow? So you end up creating the 3D shapes and volumes in Shapes, and then what happens?
Yeah, so I think that it's a really good example of how you don't need extremely elaborate modeling to create a world. You can see, as long as I had the ability to create solid, sort of very mathematically structural shapes, but also the fluidity of some of the brushes, it has enough flexibility for me to create my general space, and then everything else is made up for with lighting and textures and whatever. So yeah, I got the basic shape down, but since I'm building knowing that I'm moving into Unity, there might be, for example, some components that I build that I know I need to replicate. I might save that replication for the Unity side. But basically the foundation of, you can see it, the foundation of my entire world is right there in ShapesXR. Everything else is just embellishments at that point.
Let's
so go to Unity.
we gotta do it. Let's get the little portal here. And by the way, in Shapes, that's also what you can do. You can travel between words. We can put words. And so now we are gonna see you directly in the Mona world from Pixel.
Yeah, dude, this is so cool.
What?
Yeah, you know, and the fact that other people can be in here and collaborate is just extra special.
Yes, yes, and I think now we need to wait for our fantastic cameraman to go back. There was a little error in loading the space. Let's give it another try. And this wouldn't be connection. Interesting. We have got Jeremy. Maybe you can try to restart. Yeah, let's see if that solves it. Got a bit of a hiccup, but I don't think people can still hear us actually. So this is extra suspense for everybody.
You're missing out.
On the other hand, there is a question from Jason Zhang. He's asking, yeah, 3D environment as NFTs were a thing last year. Would you agree or disagree? What's your take on that aspect?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
The question was from Jason. He's asking, yeah, 3D environment as NFTs were a thing last year.
Were they? I don't recall. I don't remember seeing it elsewhere. I know that there has been some efforts, but Mona's the one that actually did it, as far as I know. I'm not familiar with anyone else doing the same thing.
Yeah, no. I think it's more like they were hot last year, and now this year maybe not as much.
Yeah,
this is how I
yeah.
feel.
I mean, my opinion about that is that seems to generally sort of follow the market. There's a bunch of fear, uncertainty, and doubt when the market goes down on Bitcoin. And, you always have your typical people feel like it's the end of the world. This is going nowhere. And then Bitcoin shoots up to 60,000 again. So these are just the ebbs and flows of emerging tech,
Absolutely. I think that is like many. But we are here in these beautiful, beautiful words. And I actually don't know where to go. I mean, I am a bit like, actually, maybe I'm just going to go through this tunnel because this seems to be the place.
Yeah, and this is actually fun. When people go check out the world, I actually added some interaction. So as you go through these different rings, they actually light up and make a nice sound.
Oh, that's another interesting.
But yeah, like I mentioned, this is a perfect example of how, in order to get the VR experience, I walked around the environment like this, but then to get more of the desktop experience, I quickly just took a look like that.
Of course. And maybe also one detail. Now I'm going to zoom myself, get a bit bigger. And you see how these rings are not all the same size. But to get the effect that you actually want to give, they get bigger and bigger, right? And that is something that is totally intentional. It cannot be just a case.
Yeah. And, I have to say that there's ShapesXR is relatively simple, but what it does really well. So you have other applications that are much more robust with all kinds of features for designing or whatever, but they're almost too much and not every feature is great. But all the symmetry of, placing these circles, of placing these items and being able to quickly just add them and keep the symmetry is one of the big pluses of ShapesXR. It just does a fantastic job of facilitating that for you.
That is really great. And maybe a little bit, what's the story of this space? Was that an intention or some like a design concept, or is all started from flowing shapes?
Yeah, it was just like I said, it's how a lot of these things or a lot of my projects work out. It's an experimentation and needing something. I just decided, I like the idea of circles. I mean, it does have a little bit deeper meaning. I don't necessarily always reveal what that is, but I like the idea of things coming full circle and circles representing something like that. So I just built on it. And, at the end of the day, it's also the tool and what it can facilitate that lends to what ultimately gets created. So it was just completely creative flow and I don't like doing things for nothing. So I try to build a more solidified concept around it. So it was born out of just pure creativity. The tools lent to what it became. And then ultimately I was like, you know what? I'm going to add a video screen. And these platforms, actually, when you go to the space, there's a secret button that if you walk on it over there, it'll reveal the art gallery. So yeah, then I decided let's make something solidified out of it. And we took an abstract concept and made it an event space.
By the way, we have got some comments from Moby Design Metaverse and We Are Tech. He say, no, the Metaverse is yet to begin. Take a look at these amazing technologies. I agree. And there is also Loose, so cool. Love this presentation. So I think that people are enjoying it so far. Because then, I mean, how can I disagree? One question that actually I have is, were there like functional areas that you intended to use in this space? What
do you mean? As far as I did,
so was something supposed to happen
Yeah.
here other than there, other than the screen? I mean, what was the function, for example, of those little?
Yeah, so I consider this the stadium, and like I mentioned, being an event space, I mean, it's actually so multi-purpose. So these things here, these platforms, they're just pretty, they look nice, whatever. But what I did as a demonstration at some point was I placed avatars, which are also NFTs on the Mona platform. So this was intended with the idea that it could be an avatar gallery if somebody wanted to. So you could have avatars that people could actually either try on or buy by clicking on the Mona platform to check them out and see their page. So it was multi-purposed in that way, thinking about different kinds of events people might do. But this space is considered the stadium. Actually, so the way I envisioned it as I was building, I was like, okay, this is a stadium. You can watch a show about an NFT collection, about a project, an event, a movie, whatever it is. People can hop on these platforms. It's just another vantage place, sort of the balcony of the environment. And then if you wanted to, you could actually have avatars walking through this runway of sorts, or you move the event over to this next space and then reveal the art gallery or whatever. So,
right. This could look like, usually runway are like just straight, but then why should runway be straight? Maybe you're looking from the top and they will go like flowing through the space and then into the next area.
Yeah, and imagine this. We have this great guy who created this NFT collection called Boombox Heads. And he actually developed a system where you can have different cameras in different locations in a virtual environment. So, theoretically, you could actually put a camera here that would get triggered and display the person walking. Anytime someone walked through the runway, you would see it on the screen if you wanted to or whatever. So yeah, a lot of fun stuff you can do with that. But, and imagine, this is just the foundation. This is just the beginning of what we're doing with all this stuff, right? So
yeah. But I think you made a good point. I mean, it is so important to start building and ideating and coming up with an idea without restriction, without thinking about, oh, wait, how do I move this? Let me duplicate this. And instead, while you are here in space, then ideas really start flowing. Right.
Yeah.
So this is absolutely true. And let me surprise Jeremy. Hey, Jeremy, nice to have you here. I see you're having some great camera work.
So fun. Yeah, and I know I said it before, but I want to stress this point again, that there is a lot of interest in building virtual worlds by people who have no technical experience. And I've explored, made videos about building virtual worlds in different formats, different things and whatever. But this pipeline of going through ShapesXR, building something, and then using the ShapesXR Unity package plugin to import it into a Mona space, you can literally immediately at that point place your character, put the colliders on, place your character where you want it to spawn, launch it in Mona, and test it right away. I mean, I don't think there's any shorter path from point A to point B.
Yeah. Incredible. And, this might be actually one of the few webinars that I'm going to watch again because usually, I'm part of the webinar and kind of invite, ask questions to the guest. But in this case, I really want to see how this all feels because I'm here in first person. I don't know how it felt from the other side. So I'm really curious to to see how it feels. So we are here. We have been here for a while with Pixel, hearing about his virtual worlds, and I think we are going to. Do you have questions? By the way, anybody here? We are here live. This is not recorded. So anybody that is here a question to Pixel that is building words, please go ahead and ask away. Because I think it's a great opportunity and maybe to connect, to share some of the things that you're actually doing. So please go ahead, and now let me see if anybody also was actually brave enough. And one thing that I actually wanted to do while people maybe gather their thoughts was to, Jeremy, why don't we show the video of the final results, right? So these assets that we see here was then exported, brought into Unity, materials were added, and so on. So let's see how the final Mona space actually looks. Right, and those were the different avatar, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's
the button, so you see the artwork behind.
And again, the artwork is dynamic, so the owner can update on the back end as well as the video right there.
Very nice. Very nice, and I think it does make a difference to see how these things actually evolve and gets through the pipeline, right? Starting from indeed virtual space, an idea, and then something that people can actually experience, sell, and rent. Apparently, so something I was not aware about. So indeed, but let's go maybe towards the second phase of this session, because I think that we got to know each other because you actually joined one of our contests, the XR Chef contest. We had our first iteration of the XR Chef contest, and what is it? XR Chef is a real-time design challenge where we basically task a group of designers to come up with an idea. We provide them with a theme. This time the theme was create a platformer game, and then in real time, over 45 minutes, 6 participants challenged each other and to create this experience with interactivity, with maybe just beautiful words, and everybody came up with different ideas. Now, the twist was also that the participants themselves vote the winner. Right, so everybody at the end of the 45 minutes was going through the different spaces and seeing the spaces that the others have built. So why don't we go there? Let's go to the main lobby of the XR Chef, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this contest. Shall we go? And here we go. So, and here we are. Let's see, Jeremy is with us. Yes, this time nothing happened. That is positive. And let's go. Wait, let me see. Can I move this? Oh, no, wait. No, Jeremy, sorry. I think or you make me editor or you allow me to give the prize back to Pixel, because this was our trophy. Can you do it, Jeremy, for me? I feel, let's see. Oh, here we go. And also, Pixel, here it is yours. Maybe you could also make him editor. I'm not sure if you. I think he's also Pixel. Now you should also be able to. No? Oh my God. Okay, well, but this was yours. This was absolutely yours, and this was actually the place where the magic happened. So what we had here is that every one of the participants was actually in here, looking at the in front of their position, and then they had a space assigned, so they could go in there, look at their virtual worlds, and then start building with the assets that we provided. So, indeed, and Maybe Jeremy, why don't we show the little video impression so that people can get an idea of how this whole felt like. And so here we are. That was XR Chef, and we're going to hear a little bit more about Pixel, his experience and his trophy that unfortunately he cannot get. But the trophy was not just a virtual trophy, it was also a 500 euros cash prize. So it was indeed intense for 45 minutes of creation and design, but for every participant. But at least it was certainly worth it. So Pixel, maybe just curious, why don't you join me here? I'm actually curious. How was overall the experience? And then we're gonna visit your work. But I was curious, like,
oh man, it was a lot of fun. This was the studio was super cool. Everybody was really cool and fun. It was fantastic, and I love the challenge of I didn't realize how short 1 hour actually is. It went by fast. It definitely helped to have some prefabs to work with, and inspire ideas. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we were there, and everybody was like, we were there reminding guys, we just have 10 minutes. They were like, what, 10 minutes? But everybody really gave it all. Everybody really gave it all. They come up with different ideas, from like a kind of like a tower defense game to a ride through to a highway dodging obstacles.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was indeed like different different for sure. And maybe for everybody that is also here listening, we have another one coming up. We don't have a date yet, but stay very much tuned, because upcoming weeks we're going to announce one. And this is not something where everybody can join, right? I mean, everybody can join, but we do have just 10 slots. And out of those 10 slots, we kind of like favor people that have some experience with shapes, that know how to use the tool, because indeed 45 minutes it's tight, and at the end there is indeed just for 45 minutes the chance to win the cash prize. And by the way, Pixel, we also have upcoming some sponsor lining up to actually give input on the challenge and also join the whole event. So nice. It's going to be good names in the XR industry, other studios and big players that are going to join and submit their challenges here to the XR Chef. What do we do? Why don't we go to your space and you give us a little tour there as well? Here we are. Here we are.
Nice. So cool.
And actually, from the spawn point, it is a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'm so tempted to animate it. I want to see it animated so bad. That's cool.
Yeah. What we can do is that we can do one a little. Let's do one, right? Let me just do one little thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Let's do this. I'm just, you do that one, 1, 2, 3. Let's not duplicate the stage. I'll duplicate the stage.
Oops.
And let's do this. This is the beauty of Shapes and real time. And
there we go. Whoosh.
Right. I've created some stages, Jeremy. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You will see this swing.
Oh, really cool.
Let's see. Whoa, that is actually pretty scary. I can tell you.
You can see that.
Whip. Well, if you move stages.
Oh, right. Oh, cool. Oh, you did that fast. Nice. Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful. That really does give you a feel of what that might be like.
So you don't want to be close to here because woo.
We had limited time. So, but so the folks know, a lot of these objects were actually prefabs available in ShapesXR. And I drew these little platforms and things, but the piece de resistance was these little things. This was my little custom contribution, was adding the chainsaw to a rope of sorts and making these disastrous, evil weapons of clouds with saws. Yeah, so if it's not obvious to people, basically there'd be 2 players. You go off in your respective direction, and the goal is to get to your castle and get there before your opponent, or hopefully.
Okay, no. So wait a second. Get me through it, because this is one of the things. There was no time, so I didn't exactly. Yeah. So this is like a race.
Yeah, to a degree, it's a race. I mean, if you end up, both at the same time, then I guess it boils down to who's going to fire the first shot and hopefully have good enough aim to destroy the other person's castle.
Okay, so basically you got 2 people here.
Yeah.
1 and 2, and what they do is that they are going to race on top of this and then reach the top here and then shoot against the other person's castle.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I can see that happening. I can see how this can get very hectic. And by the way, there is Sonia here. She's asking, cool, looking forward to know more about the competition. Well, stay tuned, follow us, follow me or ShapesXR on LinkedIn, and you will certainly be notified when actually the new contest is being announced. And by the way, one thing that I wanted to say to everybody here, we haven't made a lot of noise yet, but we have pushed a new update in here. And in these updates, there is a lot of cool stuff. Maybe, Jeremy, while you're around, you could show a new color tool on your left hand, I think, and check this out. So we got a new color tool where you can also add colors with the hex code in there. So that's one. And Pixel, I think you might also love this. Now you can import also GLB and GLTF. So we have a lot GLB, GLTF import for everybody, so that to give much more creative opportunities. And Also, I think there was one more thing. That one more thing. Oof, oof. Now there has been too much. There has been too much. But of course, check out soon. We are gonna announce the full update. So stay tuned on your email box. If you are a Shapes user, you will be able certainly to get notified with all the good stuff. So, Pixel, this was actually very, very inspiring for sure. And I actually now appreciate also the narrative and the challenge about these two people racing to the top and try to shoot each other castle. That was actually a brilliant idea. Now, why don't we go maybe back to the XR chef spots, and then let's see if also other people have maybe some question in the meantime. Let's go. So here we are. Let's put this back. So, Pixel, it was certainly a pleasure. I still would like, people have been a bit shy today. They haven't asked many questions. Maybe there was too much going on, too much virtual about building virtual worlds. And then a bit overwhelmed, like what is happening? This is like completely different. But I think maybe let us know. I mean, a good question is, how do you like this format? I mean, besides the amazing camera work from Jeremy here, but except for that, how did you feel about this opportunity to travel to different places and see us as avatar instead of actual person, right? Was it positive? Was it negative? I'm still very curious, actually, because we are trying here and experimenting different formats. So if you have feedback, maybe Pixel, how about you? Have you seen any other webinar? How does this compare with the previous one? If you haven't, that's also totally fine, right? I mean, maybe a first time experience as well. That also counts.
Yeah, I can't recall anything that stood out. I know I've seen them, but I don't recall them standing out. But I really personally love the studio. We have our little webinar room where we can chat. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And one of the things that I've been pushing, like with Mona and stuff, or even virtual worlds in general, is why not use the space for what we suggest and promote that it's for? Maybe we should do webinars and stuff in world.
Yeah. And I think that it poses some challenges, right? I mean, it poses certainly some challenges. And it's also true that when we are here, when we talk to each other, it does feel different for the people because they feel to some extent less engaged, because when we look in front, we still look at our webcam, right? So we feel people that we are talking to them, we are engaging, we are interacting. While instead, when we are here, it feels like more of a TV show where you are not really meant to interact.
Yeah. Well, I think that one of the beauties is, I think the natural progression in thinking about these things is that at some point we'll experiment with actually having the audience in world as well, or at least some portion of them,
Yeah. Jeremy, I have an idea. We do have 10 minutes left. Should we see if anybody wants to join us live? Should we dare? How do you feel about it? Because anyway, by now we have done everything we had to do. So if stuff breaks, breaks.
That's up to you. That's up to you, Gabriele.
Yeah, I mean, I say if somebody's ready to try it, let's let them try it.
Look, let's do this. I'm gonna type this in the chat, and then nothing can go wrong besides D5.
I'll also show it on my UI as well.
D4, D3, and here we go. Oops. Here we go. So if anybody now he's here gonna join us, at least the space is in cam view only mode. So at least we nothing is gonna break. But let's see. I'm curious if anybody is actually gonna join. And by the way, there is actually we have some people are sharing their thoughts. It's mind blowing. from Movie Design Indeed. And then we have Jason Zhang saying, tech seminars inside virtual worlds like Mona or Spatial is definitely amazing. Then we have Triana saying, seeing avatars is a great improvement for sure. The hands angles still get some getting used to, but positive overall. I can totally agree. Like, I cannot even imagine how many times you look at me now. Look at my hands. Give it back to me. Don't echo. Here we go. That's better. So that I can totally not blame you. But let's see, because indeed maybe it's a bit like last minute. People maybe don't even have their headset charged. You wouldn't be surprised of how many people sometimes like, oh wait, where is my Quest? Oh, of course, it's out of battery. You know, that does happen actually very, very often.
You know what? I actually woke up this morning and realized that my charger wasn't in completely overnight, and it was like 35 minutes before the webinar, and I was like, oh man, I gotta charge this thing up. But yeah, but we made it. We're good.
Otherwise, you would end up like wired.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
to the plug. That was also not. So, Pixar, I wanted to thank you, and I want to give maybe just like a couple more minutes to see if anybody joins. And yep, that's it. My hands are again. And you know what's the fun thing? My son is here watching me, and he's laugh every time my hands go. That is totally how it's happening. So, but I wanted to give just one more minute in case there is any crazy one that want to join us. But otherwise, Pixel, I really wanted to thank you. And by the way, you told us what's next. You do have a next project lining up. You're working on the things. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, I'll share it in a video or something. Or you know what? Maybe that's something we can do. Can we pop into my world? And I think where we were, we can just go to the next panel.
Yep, I think let's see, Jeremy, give us a portal again to this other one. Let's wait, and we have our own director popping up a portal in front of us.
So Pixel, is that in your winning space? Was it, or was
it should be in the same space, just on a different screen.
Was that the Mona space?
The radius, yeah.
Sure. Give me 1 second, and I'll get us a portal here.
Let's see. And by the way, everybody, you just have your last chance to join us to the space. And if you're here, otherwise, here we go. We have it. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. So if we just click over to the left to go into my other scene, I'm actually really excited about this one. So this was the one I wanted to...
It's up here.
Yeah. So I wanted to maintain sort of with the theme. So instead of going with circles, I went with more squarish shapes, using, again, the fluid stuff for some contrast. But similar, we have an art gallery space here. Right. And this one actually has 2 video screens. But I think people are going to lose their minds when they see what came out of this. But here's a perfect example of, for example, knowing that I'm going into Unity, I did not create all these sort of beams of lights. I went ahead and I did that in Unity because it was a little bit easier. So very much minded with what I'm building here, what's actually necessary, and what I can do with that in Unity. So I'm going to be minting this one maybe today, sometime this week, and people will get to see and actually check it out and travel within it.
Very cool. And maybe just a curiosity, like, how do people go up? Where do they appear? Are there some elevators or something?
So what I was mentioning before about navigating the space and the difference between VR and desktop, or how you can utilize the environment. You can walk down this path. You can walk up here. But so, for example, you can see that technically you would go down here, and there's these teleport features from Mona called warps that allow you to traverse the different floors, and they just warp you. But what I was mentioning before was, so you could follow the natural path, but I was mindful of the fact that if a user wanted to, he could actually just jump from here to there. If you want to go to the bottom floor, you could technically just jump down, you know? So I was very mindful of that.
I'm down.
But yeah, so there's warps, and even on these little platforms here, there's actually warps in the final world with arrows pointing to where it's going to take you. So you just hop off onto the little triangle, and it'll teleport you from here to there.
Okay, cool. Well, one thing I like actually is like this cube trapped in these vines. I really like this idea. Actually, that's very nice.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, let's go over one more panel to the third panel.
Yeah, we can go. Here we are. Oh, this is a boom.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show the diversity. This is actually a boombox world. This is technically going to be gigantic.
Oh,
and
okay.
It's inspired by 1980s hip hop and graffiti culture. And I've been talking to some rappers and stuff about doing an event in this space.
Cool. I mean, this was, on the other hand, a model you imported, I imagine, right?
No, I did this all in ShapesXR.
Right? No way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, this
way,
was all ShapesXR.
No. What the hell? This. No way. This is so cool, actually. This plug is so good. Man, this jacket's like an actual jack.
Yeah, you'll see. It looks so great. I mean, with a little bit of chrome on there and all the textures and lighting, it looks really nice.
It's actually cool. And I mean, from now on, you'll have also limitless color opportunities. So that kind of thing.
Yeah. We needed that one. That's a nice touch. We needed that update.
Amazing, man. Actually, I'm going to use this as an example. Tell me that you cannot make complex 3D modeling shapes. What about this?
Yeah.
Cool stuff. We got, by the way, Triana saying, "Oh, I wish I would love to join, but didn't bring my headset with me. I'll be ready next time." Okay, we count on that. We're gonna have you next time live.
And I mean, and if we want to make the space available for people to come and check it out, I'm fine with that too.
Yeah. I mean, I think we do have also like featured spaces so that people can visit. So let's do this. Maybe we can certainly add it to our gallery so that other people can experience.
You want to check it out? Sure.
Awesome. So Pixel, I really wanted to thank you and best of luck on the launch of minting of your new spaces with your future project. And I mean, thanks for being such an active member of the community, believing, creating, and really pushing and doing what we preach all, right? That is like being in space and showing what we can do, that is not just all happening behind the screen, but it's happening inward, right? In amazing work like this one.
No, thank you guys. I really appreciate being here, and I really enjoy the app and look forward to future updates. Fantastic work.
Amazing. Pixel, thank you very much. Let's shake our virtual hands. Thank you very much for being here, and thanks everybody that joined. And hey, if you want to be here, you want to be featured, or want to show what you have built, you've seen how open we are to welcome every creators of any source or trade. So come over, contact us, and we'll be great to have you. So another special thank, Pixel, maybe just one thing. Let's thank Jeremy, who has done such a great job.
Props to Jeremy. I actually got some footage so we can show a little behind the scenes of what was going on here.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jeremy. See you guys. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye-bye.